Hey, everybody. It is Jim Johnson here, your host with Contractor Radio and the head coach at Contractor Coach Pro, where we help contractors get control of their business so they can grow their business and find that personal and financial freedom that they were chasing in their business. And so I wanted to do something special for the summer. And so this summer, what I'm doing is I'm putting together a series of podcasts from the contractors that are out there doing special things, doing something unique, different, that I believe would be helpful to you, either from a business perspective or from a human perspective, or maybe even both. My guest today is an amazing human being. I've gotten to know him over the last few years. They are one of our clients, but more than that, he's in a small group with me. He's been a strong influence on me. I like helping him do what he does, and I cannot wait to bring him in. But before we do that, we got to keep the lights on around here and all that good fun stuff. Here's a little word from our amazing premier sponsor, Atlas.
The Atlas Pro Plus Contractor Program is designed to help you build your business. It gives you tools and resources, training, industry insights, bonus structures, technical knowledge, the brand power and science of 3M Scotchgard, and what we think is the best product and warranty in the industry. Become part of the family that is succeeding and growing their businesses.
We went from nobody ever heard of us to the number one roofing company in our region.
And we've gone from 12 roofs a year to 20, 35, and we did over 400 last year.
We're on track right now to do 1,000 roofs this year.
You'll begin earning Atlas bucks and rewards as you move up to even greater reward levels. Become an Atlas Pro today.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. A little word from Atlas there. If you guys are in the roofing industry out there and you haven't checked out Atlas yet, get with your local rep. They have brought some new innovation to the game this year that will give you a proprietary advantage out there in the field. Worth you checking them out for sure. Now, today, we're going to be talking, like I said, with a contractor that means a lot to me. One of those guys that is just more than a client. He's a great human being. And welcome to the show, Dos Roussow. How are you, man?
Thank you, Jim. I'm doing well, and it's my honor to be with you.
Yeah, you are the founder of Clean Cut Roofing there in Tyler, Texas, Longview, Texas, right? Longview. Like that's all kind of one city. Tyler, Longview, Kilgore, all that. If people don't know that are outside of Texas, that's where oil was a big thing. Like it was originally discovered, I believe, in southeast Texas, but Kilgore was like the central mecca for it. And so there's a lot of oil guys around there. Still a heavy influence on the area, right, Dos?
Very much so, yeah. When oil prices are high, we tend to do better around here.
Everybody needs a new roof. It's perfect. So, Dos, can you do us a favor? Just give us a little background. You've been running businesses here in the States for quite a while, but tell us the story. Like, how did you get here to the States in the first place? And then why Texas?
Yeah, so I was born and lived my first 20 years of life in South Africa. My parents still live there. My siblings still live there. But after I finished high school and then finished my service in the military, it was mandatory at that time, 2 years. I came to the U.S. for an adventure. And I was 20 years old. And believe it or not, I'm still on that adventure today. So
yeah, you were only supposed to be there a year, right?
Yeah, 1 year, and turned into 35 later. But the U.S. This country has been extremely good to me, and I had no idea that I would be where I'm at today in Texas, nor in my family life and my business life. And and the many friends and associations that I've been afforded. So yeah, I'm full of gratitude, and I always look forward to the future. I've been in roofing probably 30 years now, and did my phone ping? Was that me? I'm going to put mine on airplane mode. I think that'll help.
I think it was mine, and mine
Oh,
is,
is yours?
but for whatever reason, my watch decided to start vibrating, which
Oh boy.
I'm going to take that thing off, and we're just going to throw it across the room like that. You're out of here. Sorry about that.
So yeah, I lived in Connecticut my first 10 years, which is like a whole nother country, really. You know, if any of you guys have ever lived in the North or Northeast, more specifically, it's a very different culture. And for me, when I moved to Texas 10 years later in 1997, it was like, yes, I was still in the U.S., but it was coming to a different country altogether, really. And from then on, I always told my friends or anybody that would ask me, you know, do you like Connecticut or Texas better? I said, man, there's no comparison. Just come south. Don't venture up to the north unless you're like growing hair on your teeth or something, you know. It's a rough place to start out, you know. But I guess
just lost all my Connecticut listeners. So.
Sorry. No, if you live up there and you're doing well, more power to you. But man, it was rough coming from Africa to, you know, New York, Connecticut. That was difficult. But yeah, it caused me to have to grow up fast. And then I'm thankful I'm in Texas, and thankful for you know, the businesses we have, and the family and the friends. And this last year has been especially great because, you know, I was introduced to you and your work probably 3, 4, 5 years ago, but I'm thankful you guys have added a lot to my perception and my vision, and moving forward, I treasure that relationship. So yeah, here we are, both of us in Texas. Are you allowed to tell people you live in Texas?
Yes, I am. I'm born and raised here. I grew up in north side of Houston, Texas. Then I met a girl from Wisconsin who tricked me into moving to Wisconsin. She took me up there in July and said, hey, this is Wisconsin. It's green, beautiful, rolling hills, rivers everywhere. I'm like, what kind of fish you got in the rivers? And there's trout, which is my favorite thing in the world, fly fishing. Yeah. And I'm like, I could live here. This is beautiful. I love the pace and everything. I love the people. It was awesome. And so we decided to move. We moved up on December 1st, her birthday. It was 6 degrees outside. I had never, ever been anywhere where it was a single-digit temperature in my life. Yeah, I think up until that point, the lowest I had ever seen was 19 degrees. And I was like, this is not a temperature. This is a score in a baseball game. This is not good. I don't know if I want to do this. 3 weeks later, it was 44 degrees below zero, actual temperature, not wind chill or any of that kind of stuff, actual temperature. I can remember coming downstairs because we were staying with my in-laws, and I go, "Oh, it's cold outside." He goes, "Yeah, it's pretty cold." I said, "What's the temperature?" He goes, -44. I go, that's wrong. Why does anybody live here? This is terrible. How do you do I freeze to death if I just walk outside? Am I like a statue? He's like, no, it doesn't work like that. He goes, hasn't been this cold in 50 years. You got it out of your system the very first year. Like you're good. You're golden from this point forward. So 2 years later, it's winter time again. I walk down the stairs at my house now, and I look at the thermometer that has the like indoor-outdoor thing because you don't want to be outside actually looking at a thermometer. Yeah. And it was -55. It was 5:30 in the morning. I called him and I said, "You're a damn liar." Like, this is again that thing happened. And so that's my story about being in Wisconsin. I was there 18 years. I can remember being out in March and shoveling snow over my head off of the driveway. And I walked inside and I went, "Honey, I'm done. I did 18 years. I can't do this anymore. I got to get back where there's sun, grass, songbirds and stuff like that. We can come visit the snow, but we got to get out of here." Yeah. So moved back to Texas 10 years ago. Back to Houston, went, holy cow, I forgot how hot and sweaty it is here. I don't like that either. And so we were going to move to Colorado. And we went, wait, that's too far from the kids. There's going to be grandkids. So we will stay close. We'll just go west to see a cactus. And we found that in New Braunfels, Texas. Much drier, much better.
Yeah.
And then my oldest daughter decides to up and move to Colorado and take my grandkid there. So now we go to Colorado all the time anyway. So I know that had nothing to do about roofing, but a good story about our Texas experience. Now, Dos, you started your own business in Connecticut. Is that correct?
I was self-employed, I didn't start
like
hiring.
Solopreneur type deal, right?
Yeah.
And just what'd you do?
Yeah, I when I first came to the U.S., as many immigrants, you don't have too many choices. Well, one of the choices is construction, right? And so I was always happy and able to work with my hands, and so I got right into construction. Did handyman work for probably 6 months or so until it led me into more complex work, remodeling, and quickly built up, a little clientele. And when I needed help, I'd hire temporary help, and that's what I did for quite a while until I discovered roofing. And now,
did you discover that in Connecticut or down here?
In Connecticut. Connecticut. What happened is I had a deck to build for somebody, and under that deck there had to be a flat roof. It was over a room, and so I had to figure out how to do that. Couldn't find any contractor to do that, and so I just learned. I went to the roofing supply place, and they were kind enough to walk me through the steps of doing a torch down roof. And I discovered that there just wasn't too many guys doing, skilled to do that. And so I learned, and I began to move in that direction and made that a niche for me. But I still didn't want to pursue a business structure big, because I was also very involved in the ministry. And so I split my time between doing ministry work and working enough to provide for my family. And it was a good living. Coming to Texas 10 years, into my United States experience, my family grew, and when your family grows, your needs grow. And so in 2000, yeah, you know that. By the way, they say when your kids move out, you're all like empty nester, and then it'll cost you less. That's not true. That's not true at all.
Big lie. Used to be that way, not that way anymore.
No, it's not that way at all. But anyway, so coming to Texas, family grows and so forth. And 2005, I said, you know what? I need to develop this thing, and had some guys that I had known up in Connecticut that were skilled. I landed a couple of large apartment jobs, flat roofs, and said, hey, why don't you guys come down here and help me with this project, which they did. And that was early 2008, I believe. The crash had just happened. And so up in that area, there was nothing for them. And so these guys just moved their families down here, and we started the company, Clean Cut. And and the rest is kind of history now.
Tell me about that a little bit. So you started the company in 2008. Right?
Well, 2005 officially with name and registration and all of that. But 2008, at the bottom of the economy is really when I decided, okay, I'm going to hire permanent employees, which was kind of different, and it's still different today. Guys who will work for me as technicians. And I'll keep them busy. They called me their agent, and they were the guys who got it done. I still did the physical work sometimes when needed, but that's how we started. And from there, I hired more. I built the crew, and from there, hired a salesman probably about a year later. Really first administrative. That was a huge step for me to hire somebody that would do my work. But yeah, from there it just grew and
so I have a question about that.
Yeah.
So um, your labor, that's one thing, right? Like, that work, you're doing that work. Your skill set sounds to me, especially if they called you their agent, you were the guy that procured the work. You were the one that was able to go out and meet clients, convince them that you were or persuade them that you were the right choice for them. And so that was how it went, and probably stayed that way for a little while, I would imagine.
Yep.
And then you went, okay, let's see if I can get somebody to do what I'm doing. Is that your first step of really having somebody outside of crew working for you?
No, my first hire was an office lady, kind of an admin that did my books.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
And I had this one room office. It was kind of strange in a way. It was a room, and I still actually rent this particular property as well. It's so strange. If I could show you on camera, your whole audience would be laughing. But it was this one room, and it had a bathroom in the middle. And my desk was on this side, and Maria's desk was on the other side, and then it was just strange, I mean, like she would like, I'm going down the road to get me a coffee, but she really was going to the bathroom, kind of strange. Or she would wait till I leave,
Yeah, uncomfortable situation right there.
Yeah, but it was a really small office. So, but yeah, that was my first hire. The second hire then was a salesman that, I think I had just read the book Good to Great. It was one of the first business books I read. And from there, it was just learning,
So that's kind of the thing. Like this, back in the day, there wasn't anybody that coached or did any of that kind of stuff. So you kind of just learn. And it's a little bit of guesswork. Do I hire the admin person first, or do I hire a salesperson that I can afford the admin type of situation? We tend to coach that it has everything to do with your skill set. Like, if you are a salesperson, hire your admin first. If you're more an administrative person, then hire your salesperson first. It really has a lot to do with that. Would hire your weakness, right?
I agree.
What made you decide that you were was it that book, Good to Great? You read the book and went, okay, I'm going to go ahead and scale this thing up and make a real business out of this? Because there's so many contractors out there. I mean, so many. We've actually been doing a bit of a study on this, and 10% of the contractors are over $1 million. So 90% are less than $1 million.
Really? Wow.
But of those 90% of them, so 80% of the overall, are under $200,000 a year in revenue. And a lot of that is because of those first decisions. Like, what do I do to take my first step? Do I hire an admin? Do I hire a salesperson? Do I have the crew? Can I procure the work? There's all these first decisions. And a lot of times we make those decisions, we bring a bunch of extra stuff on us, and now we're out of time. How did you manage that struggle?
Yeah, as far as books that I read, I'm thankful I read that book. I don't know how I came upon it. Somebody must have recommended it. And then from there, I read the book Traction, and that book helped me a lot, because I decided I wanted to run my business in a certain way. I want to have some structure to our business, and just discovering, yes, a business is about sales. A business is about production, and a business is about finances. Just laying those foundations was very important. So then I realized, well, if it's about those three things, I've got the production down, I've got the sales, as much as I can do, but on the financial side and the admin side, I realized that's where I need good support. And
right.
And so that's what I did. I hired a bookkeeper / person that would answer the phone when they're in the office, but it was part-time, right? And then just increased their time, became a full-time position, and then the salesperson. And then, today we have 5 ladies, and it could have been men, but we have 5 ladies that handle phones and admin work. And really, that's a huge backbone for our business.
I think a lot of people underestimate the value of that. And the way you approach it is like, okay, part-time first, because that's all I can afford probably. But because of that time, that you now gain to go out and procure more work. You got more work, you needed more admin help, more financial help. And so that thus turned it into a full-time job for them.
Yeah.
I wish more contractors follow that path. Like, okay, if that's the thing that frees me up, the thing I'm not good at.
Yeah. I also decided, I'll put my trust in a CPA. I'll hire a CPA, and that'll be my CPA from now on. And that's the person that's still my CPA. And I don't always like what they tell me, or how they handle things, but it's kept me, I'm not worried about getting audited or anything like that. I've done my best.
It's a good check and balance. Whenever we throw all of our eggs in one basket, like, hey, I've got a bookkeeper, so my bookkeeper is going to do the thing for me. They're going to take care of my finances, run my QuickBooks, do all of that. If they don't have some kind of check and balance, you open up opportunity for all kinds of not great things to happen. You could get an audit and she's not doing it correctly.
Yeah.
You open up this trust factor thing. Like, is she doing things the right way with my books? I actually went through it. I had a person that I trusted as my bookkeeper / CPA, and she ended up procuring a few dollars from us. Let's just put it that way. And so having that balance of that CPA to keep you grounded financially and smart about your money, but also keeping your bookkeeping a check and balance on that probably gave you a little bit of peace of mind.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. There was always this, everything is getting checked by the CPA. I mean, the CPA is the one that double checks everything we do and takes full responsibility. So, again, as much as that, in my very early years, I didn't do that. I remember going a couple of years one time without a bookkeeper, and just being self-employed, but making good money. And then all of a sudden discovering, oh no, I owe the IRS a lot of money. And that was not a good, I never want to have that feeling again. That was not good. So
I can remember that one too.
My soul,
wait a minute.
Man.
That check I got to write to the IRS is bigger than my wife's whole year. Like, I can remember her just saying that. Like, that's more than I make in a year, and you got to write a check for that. I go, yeah, and that like taps me.
Yeah.
Like, we got to start over and figure this out. That was when I went, okay, CPAs and all that other good stuff too.
Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge with bringing on a salesperson?
For me, it was, will I be able to, this was a guy with a family, right? He had just gotten married. And it was, and still is for me, anytime I hire somebody, the challenge for me is, okay, they're putting their life in my hands, and will I give them the opportunity to succeed? And can somebody actually succeed at this? Really, back then, the model wasn't so well known, right? We didn't know that a salesman can make $100,000 in a year. So you are thinking, oh my goodness, this guy is going from a job where he knows his income, and here I just offered him a job, and I don't even know how I came upon it, but I decided he'll be paid commission. I think I gave him a small base, but it was mostly commission. And he said, yes, I want to do it. And I'm like, oh man, he wants to do it.
You found the right guy. It sounds like he was hungry.
And I very specifically remember soon after he started with me, I took a trip with my family to South Africa to visit my parents. And I was so concerned. I'm in South Africa. He's over here. He's supposed to sell a few jobs while I'm gone. And will it happen? Back then communication wasn't so smooth as it is today as far as getting on.
You mean you weren't sending texts back and forth between South Africa and Texas?
Not those days. Those days you probably paid $5 a text. Now it's $5 a day, I think, for everything. Yeah. But communication was more of a challenge. But yeah, I remember me and my dad having some talks about that. That was really, I considered my first high risk move in business. Everything else I had covered, but hiring a salesman for me was a big step because I felt like he needs to make good money. And can I provide?
What did you do to ensure that he made it? Or did he? I guess that's
he did. He did.
Good. Okay, good.
He very much did. What did I do to ensure that I'd say, as I would say today, when a salesman comes to work for us, he doesn't have to apologize for our company. So he doesn't have to worry about our reputation. I think that's a huge thing. If I'm going to go sell for a company, I don't want to have to apologize for them on every turn, And so I say, what did I do for him? Well, I gave him a good company to sell, a good name to sell. We were not, the little bit of size we had we were reputable, and we could list our references, and he could walk into the supply houses and know that we pay our bill and so forth, So I'd say I gave him a credible, visible company.
Like you gave him a brand with a reputation he could trust.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
And he helped us build it, Then from there on, it's a snowball effect, You can work with that.
So he came in. He starts. Did you supply some training of any kind? Did he already have some background in it? Like, what did that?
He did. He worked as a salesman, but it was a salaried position at the company called Tough Shed. They build sheds. Are you familiar with Tough Shed? Yeah. He worked for them for a year. Yeah. In fact, I think the way that it worked is he worked for them. We were friends, and he said, "Man, this is what I do for Tough Shed. I think I can do this for you." I believe that was kind of the
God's
story.
providence right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most guys don't get that lucky. That's not usually the way it goes. It's like, hey, will you come to work for me? Yeah. You got some sales history? Yes, I do. But then there's this training, and you got to get them all this like knowledge that they didn't have before, and you hope they make something out of it.
Yeah.
I think that's a big struggle for a lot of guys whenever they first start is, you know how to sell it because you have all this experience. You've gone through the ringer on a lot of it. You've got a bit of a personal reputation. So now your word of mouth stuff is taking care of you. But this new guy doesn't have that. How do you get that to him quickly?
Yeah, today it's easy. I send them to you.
That was nice. I did not pay you to say that, but that was nice.
No, but I mean, I look, nothing like that existed 15 years ago. Not that I knew of. Not that I knew of. You were in the industry. Was there anything like that?
Only in my building.
Only in your building. Yeah.
We had created it. We put it. We had a whole sales training manual, put together videos to go with it, like that kind of stuff. Like I knew if I was going to scale, I had to get salespeople making quickly, and so it wasn't about teach them everything all at one time. It was teach them what they needed to do to get to the point of making money. So we call that concept time to money. How fast can I get somebody up to speed on something that may not have any kind of, at least construction background, maybe some sales ability, but not some construction background. So they got to learn, what's the difference between a flat roof and a pitched roof or steep slope? And what does slope even mean? And what are asphalt shingles versus EPDM versus built up and those type of things, and rafter systems and truss systems. And you got all this knowledge that you just go, everybody should know that, right? Well, they don't. And it takes some time. And that's what I think most small contractors run into whenever they're trying to go from solopreneur to like scaling their business, is they think this guy's going to come in and do really well right from the get-go. They don't all get lucky and get some guy that has some construction background. Yeah. And so they do this ride-along training, like watch what I do and mimic me, and then you start doing that yourself. But that takes a long time to learn that.
I was fortunate. This guy was a self-learner, but and then ride-alongs and just getting introduced to the industry. But man, today it's so much easier. You guys do this, and I guess there's a few others, but so nice. You have the platform. They log in, they go through the courses.
Yeah, it's
man. If you can't do it with all this info, then
might not be the industry for you.
Yeah.
So okay, we get our first sales guy. We've got our admin gal, but now today, if I read things, 52 employees. You guys do about $1
Yeah,
million a month?
we've actually cut back a little bit over the last couple of years. Maybe COVID has something to do with that, but really our revenue hasn't dropped. Just our model has changed a little bit. But yeah, we have 52 employees today. The majority of those are sales and admin. We still employ quite a few technicians. I would say total of about 20. But the world has changed a lot. In fact, we dealt with that a little bit today in our business. We have to adapt. I like the old-fashioned way of business where everything is under one roof. We've got finances, the sales, and the production. It's all there. Everything happens there. We've got all the equipment, all this. We put our guys through certified trainings and on. But I have discovered, and I've had to come to the model today where, we have to rely on subcontractors. There's such a shortage. I mean, the technicians are not knocking our doors down. You know that.
Yeah, so. It has changed a little bit.
Yeah.
And I see it done both ways. People that want to stick with having technicians, we got to build a pretty strong training program. We got to go recruit pretty hard at the high schools and technical schools and really almost build like their own education thing. The thing I've noticed is that for doing the trades, the money has gotten a lot better. And so there's been a shift in the last 2 years of people it was always going down, people getting into the trades. The last 2 years, the first 2 years in 17 years that it has gone up and getting into the trades. So what that tells me is that the income is validating what the effort is. So it's good to see. I hope it continues. It's not this big, huge shift, but it's at least going in the right direction. So if you were to go back and do it all over again, or you are a mentor to another person that's getting into it today, what would be the 2 or 3 things of advice that you would give them when they're first starting out?
Yeah, probably some of the things we've already discussed, like, what are you good at? And you keep doing that, then hire people to do what you cannot do. I think if I was to restart a company today, I wouldn't be so heavy on trying to build my own in-house crews, because there are plenty of crews out there that you can get to, skilled people, and then just learn how to oversee them. But yeah, I would tell a young entrepreneur, you yourself need to understand finance as much as you possibly can. Know what a P&L looks like and what a balance sheet is all about. You should know those things, but then hire people to take care of that for you as quickly as you possibly can. And then be as much as a people person as you could possibly be. Build as many relationships in your community as you could possibly build. I think I lacked in that some, not going out as much as I should. I do now, but I think one should in your early years, join the chamber, join every networking group you possibly can. Visit with every insurance agent in town. Visit with all the realtors in town. Go to all of those things and make yourself visible and be confident about that. I think that's a big part of landing the right kind of work.
I couldn't agree with you more. Building that strong network of relationships that there's value back and forth, right? Like the Chamber of Commerce, you just went with them to Billings, Montana, right?
Yeah, how valuable, man. Yeah.
Yeah, like you didn't have to do that, but you willingly did. And so there's this, wow, that guy stepped up and did some nice stuff for us. I want to help him out. There's that kind of a feel that goes into
absolutely
reciprocity, right?
Yep. Yeah,
what do you think has been the single biggest factor in your success? And I mean, you've been doing this for 30 years. Nobody does this for 30 years without being at least some level of success. What's been the number one reason for that, do you think?
Well, I want to I think I'll ascribe it to at least two things. One, in my early 20s, I had a friend that was very generous. He gave to charity a lot and very easily. And I saw that, and I was attracted to that. And then after I came to faith, I realized that, this is part of our relationship with God. And so I've tried to be very generous through the years. And so, we don't give so God would give back to us. But I will say that, I feel like a lot of if what is perceived as success is, I try to just be a channel. So that's definitely, for me, it's number one. But from more of a human standpoint, I would say that between reading and a willingness to grab a hammer if I need to, and everybody that works for me knows that they know that I read, and they know that if there's work that needs to be done and nobody's going to do it, that I will physically go and do it. And I will sweep the floor if the floor doesn't get swept, and I do it. I gladly do it. So I think those are some factors, probably the two big factors for me.
I find it like you said, because I heard you earlier when you were talking, like it was ministry and this. You were just kind of doing two things at once. Then when you moved to Texas, really became the business. And then you said you don't give to get back. You do it because that's what we're asked to do. Like there's actually scripture that backs that up, right? If someone asks, and you have it, give it. So there's this but you said something that it really caught my attention. You saw somebody being very generous and it attracted you. Why is that?
Yeah. Well, I think it just matched. It just matched what I was learning in my faith, So here I was seeing an example of somebody that wasn't holding on and hoarding their wealth. They were, for them to give everything away that they just earned today was not a big deal at all. God will provide again tomorrow. So why hold on? And so when I, seeing that, this guy was almost like a father figure or an older brother to me. I'm like, man, this is the way to live. Why not go for it? And
it's scary though, isn't it? It's scary. When you got a family, you're responsible. You got people working for you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so this money, I'm going to give it away. Like, you have it.
Yeah.
And it causes a bit of worry and anxiety, even though we're not supposed to. We're not supposed to feel that.
Yeah.
We're supposed to trust God's going to provide the next day, like you said before. Yeah. It has been such an amazing journey for me because I've gone through this thing too, where I saw some examples of it, and it was attractive to me. I don't think it's attractive to everybody. I think it's more rare than we might assume. That I think most people are like, well, we see the guy with all the money and he's like got all the fancy stuff and the planes and the cars and the boats and all that. And I want that. But what we don't see is the guy that's like giving away, like he's not announcing it out loud. You usually have this influence, this person that you were close to.
Right.
That you see that. I think it's the coolest thing. Is really what I was hoping.
Yeah, it's really, it's really very humbling, man. I tell you, I run a nonprofit as well. And here recently, especially, some people have come alongside and partnered with us. And man, it's so humbling. And that just inspires me to just like want to work harder and get more people on board. So, I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, you've sucked me in.
It's a lot of fun. I'm telling you, it's just it's so incredible. So incredible. Last week, in fact, the guy is still there in Malawi. Africa where there was a huge cyclone that caused a lot of flooding. Lots of people lives were taken and people's villages destroyed and just the whole livelihood gone. But and I just happened to kind of stumble on this because I was in Malawi for a well drilling project, and this guy that was hosting us, who's kind of acting as a representative for us, said, "Man, next week when you guys leave, I'm coming back over here to help these flood victims," which was further south in the country. But anyway, I kind of told a few friends about it, man, and so we helped him that next week, and then he comes back, and I called him and I said, "David, you won't believe this, man. Somebody just gave a whole lot of money, and they want you to go back, buy all the food you can buy, distribute all the food you can distribute, all the Bibles you can distribute," and sure enough, he just got himself ready, turned right back around, drove 600 miles into Malawi with his truck and back and forth to the market, getting to people that otherwise would never have been helped, and so, yeah. So this just snowballs. People see that and say, "Man, I can help, good heavens. We pay $6 for a cup of coffee and we have no problem with it. But $6 you can feed somebody for a week sometimes, so. Yeah.
Something that just stuck out to me.
Yeah.
So we talked all about the roofing stuff, growth and success, and 52 people work for you, $1 million a month. And all that was great. None of that was even close to the smile you just had.
Yeah.
Like you could see joy in your face, like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're making a difference, and all these things just line up to allow for it. I think it's amazing. So digging water wells in Africa, helping people in a cyclone. Went to Billings and helped with a situation there. Like I didn't know the whole thing, but I know you were there helping the least, the last, and the lonely, right? Tell us the story. This is the one I want to get involved in. Okay. So I wanted to get to here before this was over because I hope people listen, and maybe this will be a way. Because what's the name of the nonprofit? Is Samaritans
Servants International.
Samaritans Servants International. And so it's not just putting water wells in. You guys have put like 40 water wells. We helped with one of them. We want to do some more there.
Yes.
But you went to Pakistan. What'd you do in Pakistan?
So for some reason, Pakistan has been a country that has been on my heart. I think years ago, maybe a decade ago, I saw a documentary about people, in Pakistan. And of course, it's an Islamic republic, lots of poverty, obviously. But I that need always stayed in front. And then I had been to India, introduced to a man there who now is representing us there, and every month we do a water well there. But he said, "Hey, I've got a friend in Pakistan," and you have to understand, India and Pakistan, if your listeners may know, they don't really talk to each other, right? Because they're enemies. After World War II, there was a huge split between Muslim and Hindu, and war and on and on. But anyway, so India and Pakistan, they can't even get visas to visit each other. But these two guys met each other in Nepal and became friends. And so they've been friends ever since. And he said, "Man, I've got a friend in Pakistan. I would really love for you to get to know him." And so, yeah, that was a year and a half ago. And we got to, we were introduced to Emmanuel there, and turns out that he serves people who are Christians. And Christians, of course, in Pakistan is a very small minority. And in Pakistan, if whatever your faith is, it's indicated on your ID. So if you're not Muslim, everybody knows as you do business or whatever that you're Christian. And so the Christians get the worst jobs. They don't get loans. They don't get the grants. They don't get social help and so forth. But so many of them end up, Pakistan has over 20,000 brick kilns where people make bricks by hand. These bricks are made by hand with, treading in the mud with your feet, making mud, and then making bricks. So it turns out this guy serves these people in these brickyards on a daily basis. He goes to about a dozen of them and just helps people with their immediate needs. of course, he's a minister as well, and shares the gospel and give people hope. But we had learned about this up till the point that we went, and then we went there and we saw this. And some strange reason, I thought, well, maybe we could help one of these families to get out of this difficult situation in the brickyard, where they earn about $7.50 for making 1,000 bricks every day. And I'm thinking maybe we could get one family out, because we had learned that they're actually indebted to their owners, and that's why they stay. So they took out a loan years ago, and now they're paying off that loan, and the owner is taking interest. Long story short, we were able to free 6 families while we were there from their debt. Literally pay their owner, which the debt is never more than $1,000, and some of them has been second generation trying to pay that debt off. I tell this to people, and I didn't want to believe it until I saw it, but it really is. It's slavery, and it's happening every day. And they say that there's over 1 million of these people, but you can do the math. It's probably very true. 20,000 brickyards. Each brickyard has upwards of 50 families that are there. They live there on property. That's where they eat, sleep, and drink, and their kids are there. The kids can't go to school because the kids have to help in doing the work. It's the worst situation you could ever find.
It's hard to believe that exists.
It is hard to believe. It's hard to believe, but day one, we found ourselves at a brickyard. We had hired security. I didn't care for the security, but our friend there said, man, if you don't have security, you So we have 4 guys with AK-47s with us all the time. And we're over here in this Muslim-owned, and by the way, I love old people, so I don't want to use the word Muslim too hard here. I'm trying right now.
No, but as a Christian, you could be frowned upon there for sure.
Yeah.
In a tight spot.
Yeah, and the country has lots of inner turmoil.
That's just an amazing story. 6 families.
Yeah.
You gave them an opportunity at freedom. It'll be up to them what they do with it, right? It's always my question, do they go back to it because it's the only thing they know, right?
Yeah. And that's the reality that we're working on, to set up, knowing now how little the debt is and how easy it would be to get them out of there. Now, what do we do with them? We were careful to the people that we paid the debt. They had family they could go to, or they were elderly and they can go be with their kids, or they were really young and they needed to not be in that situation at all.
Yeah. Next time, you got this on a plan, give me a heads up notice. I want to come help. I want to go be there.
Absolutely.
I don't think anybody should be in a situation like that.
Yeah.
In today's world.
Yeah.
It's sad whether it's here or anywhere else. That's actually, a lot of people don't know this. Kind of how America started. How did you get from Europe to here? You paid for passage, but you had to work it off whenever you got here. And you worked for a long time before you were able to pay it off. And some of that went second and third generation in a very similar type situation. And to think that thing still exists today, mind-boggling to me. And
it's hard to believe.
The work you're doing with that and all of it. The water wells, just everything that you're doing. We want to be more and more involved. I hope that the listeners out there are hearing this today, and if there is any tug in any way in your heart, this industry gives us an opportunity to do things we might not have been able to do before. Some of us have been pretty successful in all this. You feel in a tug at your heart, look up Samaritans Servants International. We'll put it in the show notes below this. You want to help out. You want to be one of those mysterious donors that give a bunch of money so a guy can go work in a cyclone. That would be absolutely amazing. Dos?
Yeah, I'd love to take you with too. My invitation to people who want to give is really almost first go. try and go with me when I go, or with one of my groups. When you see it changes how you come back. I think.
Well, maybe we put something together. Maybe we
should.
have a sidebar about this and say, hey, let's go to the community out there, home service contractors, and say, anybody that wants to help, let's. Money, great, wonderful, but if you want to actually get your hands dirty, let's go do something.
Yeah,
I've been praying for an opportunity like this, to be honest with you. Like that's it's great. I live in a nice house. Food isn't an issue. I just got back from Napa Valley, so I got to travel over there and have a good time.
Yeah,
but I want to go help. I want to go serve. I want to we get to serve contractors. I want to serve other human beings as well. And so maybe we can put something together on this. I'll maybe get Michelle in contact with you, and if we can get some planning to it, some organization to it, maybe we can pull it off.
I know we can.
Dos, hey, thank you for being on the show today. I know we ran a little over. I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you've done as a contractor, but even more as a human being. Thank you for your service and not only the families that you have created opportunity for there where your offices are. It's not the only business you own. You actually own a couple of other businesses there in Tyler as well. You are what this country is all about. There is an American dream here. It seems to me like you're living it, but you're also sharing it with others. And to me, that's pretty cool.
Thank you, Jim. You set the bar pretty high. So I appreciate your life as well. You've had great success, but I know you don't even have to do this, but you continue sharing and giving back. So thank you for what you do in your wife and family.
I like these stories a lot better than the news. I haven't watched the news in 15 years because it's just like, oh, everything's so bad and so horrible. God, there's so many good people in the world too, though. Let's talk about that a little bit. Yeah. Dos, this is a great way to start off our summer series about contractors and how they're impacting not only their own lives, but the lives of those that work for them, the communities around them, and even the world around them. Thanks for being on the show today, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. Thanks, Dos.
Bye-bye.
What an awesome show. Dos Roussow from Clean Cut Exteriors in Longview, Texas. Amazing individual, amazing human being. The fortitude and insight to say, hey, this vehicle gives me the opportunity to help and serve others, and being so attracted to it, even from a young age. I think a lot of us have it in our heart. I think a lot of us feel that tug, that nudge, that thing to do something more than what we're doing and just gaining, but being able to give and show generosity, and that generosity helping us grow. It's funny, the more we give, the more the good Lord takes care of us. We don't do it with that in mind, but those blessings seem to return to us. If you're a contractor and you're looking to lead your business maybe a little better so you can grow your business a little bigger and you can find that personal and financial freedom to do the things that are on your heart and in your heart to do, reach out to us here at contractorcoachpro.com. Go click the button that says Take Assessment. It doesn't cost you anything. It'll take you about 15, 20 minutes. It's no joke. It's a real assessment of your business. And if you complete it and hit submit, you'll get a calendar link back. And we'll do an actual, real coaching call with you, no obligation. Help give you the 2 or 3 things you should maybe do next in your business to take that next step and level up a little bit. If you like coaching and want to work with us, great. If you don't, that's okay too. We served you well. That's our goal. Thanks for being here on this episode of Contractor Radio, and we'll see you on the next one.